Welcome back, guys, to the Beyond Condition podcast. We are here with our Roundtable episode for the month. And I just had to check your name, your surname, Zoe, but we are here with Zoe Leeming-Watts. And actually, I was introed to you by Romana, but Romana has lost her voice a little bit today. So,
So she's just on
miming.
there, episode existing.
You demands undertones.
We've got dulcet tones of Romana. Romana is here, guys. You just need to check the video if you're not sure.
Oh, like this.
Oh dear.
So you guys, Zoe and Mana, you train at the same gym, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I'll speak on her behalf because she's lost the voice, hasn't she? Hear it? Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funnily enough, I've been training at Ireland in Bury St Edmunds for probably for about a year, and then she's only recently started to come into the gym, and obviously I noticed her straight away because she's huge.
Yeah.
And then she messaged me on Instagram saying that she didn't want to interrupt my training, so we actually didn't get to chat properly until she messaged me. Obviously, being in prep as well, you're in the zone, so bless her little heart. But yeah, and then obviously got chatting. But it's funnily enough that obviously not knowing her until I spoke to her, actually I follow all you girls as well,
I love that.
which I probably look up to you with your training. So it just goes to show with natural and non-natural, you sort of like follow everyone really, and everyone's linked somewhere along the lines. So yeah. She's been Zoe for quite a while. I don't know how you picked up at this time and yeah, then because we're having a game change in our gym, just to Iron Island gives a bit more variety of kit than we've got at the moment because Dan sold a load of shit and we haven't had the new stuff arrive yet. So yeah.
Bit of
Well,
variety.
Down to Iron Island.
Is it far from you guys? Is it? I'm sorry to make you speak. Is it far from you, Ro?
It's about 20 minutes, half an hour.
Well, that's
It's
not
not
bad.
too bad.
For some reason I thought it was like miles away.
Everything in Suffolk's about 20 minutes, half an hour away.
Fair.
But Zoe, you raised a relevant point there about assisted and natural.
Yeah.
Something Mana and I spoke about before sort of doing this episode about there seems to be a divide, and unfortunately
Yeah.
that can be seen as, a bit of a negative, like natties against PT users, and it's a bit like we're actually doing the same principles, right? We're doing the same thing. However, there's the assisted realms, and I feel like, potentially that could miss out on an opportunity to gain a friend that is like on one side or the other because of this weird sort of
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. I mean, I actually look up to people that are enhanced because, I follow is it Meg who come 15th in the Olympia. It's 15th or 14th she come, but it's and for you to, as long as you're doing it correctly, in my opinion, and you're getting your checks and stuff, I quite look up to the people that are pushing their body to the limit where they're aiming towards that. So I don't think, apart from being assisted, there's no difference between being natural and unnatural. It's just that you're going a little bit above and beyond to push your physique to as big as you can get it. So training wise is probably exactly the same. Diet wise, it's exactly the same. I think the only thing that with natural feds is that they look for a probably a little bit extra more condition for you to get down to the bone, which the weight that you've not achieved probably since, like, with me, my weight's 55.5 kilos on stage. Probably haven't been that since the age of about 12. So you see, I think, and the bulking phase is probably exactly the same. You need to make sure that your training and your food, stays pretty much the same. I think it's quite interesting. And as long as it's done sensible and you're getting your checks, like your bloods and all that stuff done, I think it's fine. It's when people when people pass away and then see a negative effect. Oh, has been taking, or she's been taking gear. Oh yeah, unfortunately they passed away at a young age. But then they don't know the back person checks done, or have they abused it and stuff. So I think, it's as long as it's done sensibly. Obviously, I'm in the military, so you can't take stuff anyway. Doing the natural feds, I can't take stuff because I get random drug tested, and I haven't even looked into that anyway. So, but it's not negative. I actually look up to the people that are. I think it's fascinating, and like I said earlier, I watch all the training videos of all you girls, not realising obviously that we all follow each other pretty much anyway. And I actually take a lot from the non-drug tested athletes. And because obviously as a natty, you want to get bigger and better each year. So there's no difference, really.
I love that.
I think it must be harder as a natural to do a prep, because if you think about it, we've got that enhancement to replace those hormones that we're losing through the calorie deficit and through the reduction in body fat. We've also got those compounds that are then helping us with our performance, which has a knock-on effect to day-to-day functioning anyway. So we've got that extra little boost to get us through the day on those hard days in prep that as a natural you don't have. You've just literally got up here to get you through. So it's got to be like, and like you say, you look at the natural federation, and as a rule, they're all shredded. You look at a non-tested federation, and you do get those proportion of people that maybe haven't quite got to the condition that they need to get into, but are still coming on stage. I think you see that more in the non-tested feds than you do in the natural feds.
Of course,
definitely.
as well, like in the UK more so. Obviously, we have people listening from around the world, but in the UK, I mean, fucking hell. I remember when I spoke to Wendy on a pod, and she was like, "Got one for every letter of the alphabet," because there's so many federations, and of course that comes with different. I know we've touched on it before. I remember on the one with Laura, Sara, we were talking about bikini. It's like there's the softer, then there's the more shredded, and there's everything in between, depending on where you place the athlete. And that can be quite confusing as well. And then it's, maybe the coach would guide more natural athletes more towards the natural feds, or also trying untested as well. So it's sort of, it's an individual journey, and hopefully the coach is guiding it a lot of the time, depending on the athlete as well.
A natural figure competitor. I can't remember her surname, but her first name's, I think it's Nicola or Nicole. She's sponsored by the same bikini sponsor that I'm sponsored by, and she's got some international show coming up, and she's a pro in, I can't remember which natural federation she's a pro in, but she won a category in PCA at the weekend.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you look at Keefe West, like how he absolutely dominated overseas, and he is against 95, well, probably the majority of them are assisted, and he absolutely wiped the floor with all of them. So for him to be like, I'm a natural athlete and I've just wiped the floor with all you assisted guys, like I think that is so cool, because he always, like, I think Keefe is hands down one of the people that I've never actually really seen anyone get as shredded as Keefe can. Do you know what I mean? Apart from obviously AJ Morris or someone like that, like they absolutely dominate the condition side of things. And I remember when I went to a UK DBFA show with a client a couple of years ago, and like the Grand Masters, that category with you got guys that are like 60 plus, like absolutely shitting on all like the 20-year-olds who can't get in condition, because these are the most fucking conditioned people I've ever seen in my life, and they're all natural, and it's so impressive. Like, and it was also one of probably the best run shows I've ever been to, like how they worked the show and how the athletes were looked after. Like it was brilliant. But yeah, I completely agree with you there, Ray. Like the conditioning that these natural athletes can bring is unbelievable.
Yeah, people need to check out Zoe's Instagram. She's fucking peeled.
Absolutely.
She's a pro.
Who's that, bro?
She won the PCA. She won her category in PCA at the weekend.
You're going to have a look.
Yeah, it's really cool actually, because Frank the Tank, is that the? Remember?
Yeah, big Frank.
Her, yeah, we were like, fuck, she's natty, isn't she? 'Cause she's
she's a firewoman, isn't she?
And
she's
it's
mad.
They get drugs tested.
Hmm?
Fire brigade get drugs tested. Ambulance service doesn't. Police do. If you're armed, please.
Oh, I didn't know that. So in the ambulance service, you don't get tested. Oh, well.
You're going to see an influx of bodybuilders in the ambulance service now.
King Babs is prepping a paramedic at the moment, actually.
Oh, really?
I think as well, it's that, when you do look at it feeds into when you look at the different jobs we all do as well, and how we've said it before, haven't we, Ro, with being in the ambulance service as well, and then being online coach, how different that is. And I know you obviously mentioned that Zoe's in the military, and how that fits into a bodybuilder life as well, compared to like maybe obviously us guys are online coaches, how the difference is there as well.
How long have you been in the military, Zoe?
21 years in January.
Wow.
Yes, I'm nearly done. I'm nearly done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got so normally it's normally rule of thumb, it's 22 years. But
so really...
I'll be retired.
Yeah,
retired, young, with full pension.
Love it.
Full-time BB.
But offered me 20.
Full-time BB.
Yeah, well, I have
20 years and they said I owed the money.
Yeah, well, I have started to, so my page goes properly live next year. So I'm going into online coaching as well. So I'm looking into that because I'm not too sure when I'll compete again, if I do. Because if I win this one in November, I would have won the WNBF twice as a pro. And then I've already won the DFAC twice as well. So it's where do you go? Well, what why put your body through all that if you keep on winning? So this year will test me anyway, because there's a few girls that I haven't competed against before, which is cool. They've won Miss America and stuff, so put me on my toes a little bit. But yes, I want to sort of invest my time into sort of helping others really. And if I'm getting out of the army, I need to sort of start looking into something that that I like doing. So I'll start that up. Start that up next year and hopefully be out in be out of the army 2026. So yeah.
How does your sort of average day when you're at work look like around prepping and the diet?
Yeah.
And
You want to know?
I know people found that interesting from what I had to do with my shifts. So how do you make it work?
Well, I run the gym, so I'm classed as PT course, so I run the gym on my camp anyway. But my day, I'm up at 4:10 in the morning, in the gym for 5. If I've got to do cardio, but I'm not on cardio at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll split my sessions. So if I've got legs, for example, I'll just do a lighter session, hitting like almost sort of my leg curls, calves, maybe a bit of glute work. That'll probably be about 2 hours. And then I'm in work for about 8:30. Work looks like I'll probably be doing a PT session with the guys and the girls. And then I'm on a laptop all day pretty much. And then I'll probably finish around about 4-ish. And then I'm already thinking about my second session. So then that's when, if I've got legs, that's when my compounds come into it. So it'll be like hack, or it'll be back squat, so it'll be no disturbance. I ain't got to worry about doing all my other little things, take time and stuff as well. So so I split my sessions. So all in all, if you put my training together, I am training for about 4 hours plus a day without no CD. But then if you look at some natty bodybuilders that I speak to, there's probably no difference to my training to theirs, apart from they're getting direct by their coach that they've got to do this amount of steps, they've got to do an hour and a half to 2 hours cardio. And then the weight sessions, actually, when I'm splitting up my weight session, so I hit everything, which some people don't agree with, that time-wise in the gym, it's exactly the same, but I like to spend a bit more time on my weights, and that's what gets me into condition, and that's the way I work. And some people say maybe a little bit of overtraining, but it suits me and I prefer it. And if I've tried fasted cardio before, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's disgusting. It feels like I'm going through the motions.
I love that honest review.
I hate it. I mean, I haven't even got a Fitbit to count my steps. So if I had a coach, and he asked me or she asked me how many steps I'm doing a day, I ain't got a clue, and it's probably nothing.
I love that.
I don't know what it is. It's probably about 3,000 steps.
Yeah, you got like a multiple time champion just being like, don't know. I'm just doing it well.
No,
I love
I
that.
saw
no,
you at the
that's
gym.
moving on it.
Yeah.
That's the first time I saw you in the gym, Zoe, watching you train. It was like your attention to form and tempo was just, I was just like, fucking hell. It was really, really cool to see somebody else, because there's so many people in the gym that are just like slinging the weight around and the form, and but it was, I think I was training push and I think you were training legs, and I'd done 3 push exercises and you were still on the same leg piece of kit, and it was like, fucking, I was in there 2 hours and you were still going, and I'm like, you're on prep, it's mental. Fucking hats off to you.
And that's the thing. It's when people say that I train for hours, it's so if I deadlift in my session, I all the way until peak week, I always keep deadlifting and squatting. People might not agree with doing back squat like 2 weeks before your peak week, but until it's that last leg day before I go on peak, I'm training it. I could spend a good 45 minutes on deadlift for my rest, and then I've got to do everything else on top of that. So if I'm training longer than 2 hours, that's the reason why, because, and then you've got to wait for equipment as well. So you add all these little things on, especially when you're going into the gym on an evening as well. When I go in, it's, at Bury St Edmunds, it gets busy at 5, dies down at 7. If I haven't hit one of the machines, I'll wait until everybody's gone until I've hit it. And the guys in Bury, they think I'm mental, but I won't leave the gym until I've hit everything. But then when I've read Arnold's blueprint, he trains exactly the same as what I do. So he probably trains twice a day, split his sessions, training 6 days a week, and won't leave the gym until he's satisfied.
Basically,
so exactly the same.
She's the female version of Arnold.
Yeah, basically the same.
Little mini version of Arnold,
Training 6 days a week makes my joints scream from the sofa right now. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
it would break me. I mean, I'm heartbroken already, but it would break me even more.
Do 6 days split.
I think it was like,
but the thing is,
for a lot of people to have that like double split. I mean, I went for a phase of doing it myself. The isolation work in the morning and then the compounds in the evening. And I think a lot of the old school bodybuilders did that. Again, Arnold did it, and I think a lot of the other, like, do you have? I mean, Roman Fritz does the 2 times a day, doesn't he? Like, I think it's really, I think it's more common than a lot of people think, because they're like, oh, overtraining this, overtraining that. When like, really, I think you have to be going some to really overtrain. And if you've been doing it, though, for a long old time, like, your body's kind of used to that stimulus. Obviously, yes, you're in a harsh deficit, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's something that is part of your routine. It's an integral part of your routine. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the most important. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, there's so many keyboard warriors out there that will comment on your training, but they don't live in your body. So they don't do X, Y, and Z works for you for a reason. And it doesn't mean it will work for everybody else. But like Sara says, if it works for you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the thing that gets me through it is my food. So if I have got a deadlift day or a squat day, I make sure that they're high days. And I might weigh a little bit extra the next day. But I know that if I've trained legs, you're going to hold water retention anyway. So you're going to hold a little bit. So you never weigh yourself after legs day and a high day. And I end up burning it all off anyway, because in my head, you're in that deficit. So your body is probably needing that little bit of extra fuel to be able to push out that amount of volume. And if I didn't put the fuel in, I definitely wouldn't be able to do a 6-day split. But then I speak to a lot of guys that are on prep at the moment, both natural and natural tested in the gym. And they're probably around about 80 to 90 kilo guys. And I'm on a extra 1,000 calories to them. And they're on prep about between 1,400 and 1,600, when I've only just had to drop my food, being 5 weeks out, and now I'm on 2,006 dieting.
Love that.
It's more than I'm eating
So
right now.
And the only thing I've had to do, and Bob said in Bury St Edmunds, he said, "What are you going to do, Zoe? What are you going to do to your diet?" I said, "Well, I'm a couple of weeks out, probably drop about 200 calories out of it, so it bring me from 2.8 to 2.6. He's gone, "You need to be really careful there," Zoe. He said, "because we don't want to eat into your muscle mass. So take it out, and then we'll monitor you in a few weeks." And that's what he's doing tomorrow. So now I've taken that protein bar out. He also went, "Oh, well, actually, you might have to put it back in again."
It's that the older guy that used to judge for NABA. The guy with the glasses that used to judge for NABA, Bob, at Iron Island.
Yes, he did. He did use it, yeah, because he used to compete back in the
other day.
Yeah, because he was telling me that, because he obviously is very interested in the condition that I get into. And he was also, he sat me down and we had a really good long chat about being assisted. And he said to me, the best bodybuilders come from the foundation of being natural to then going over. And he said to me, "Zoe, he said, you would be dangerous." He said, "You're a genetic freak." But I never thought of it. But I said to him, but he's obviously being assisted in his back in his day as well. But he thinks he can't get his head round with the condition more so. But yeah, so we've had a chat about all the ins and outs. Again, I find it quite interesting and stuff. But he was telling me all the different sort of things that obviously women take that are not aware of, and the repercussions and stuff of and that, and the advice that he's given to female athletes. Trying to keep him on the straight and narrow really with it all. But yeah, he's judged at NABA. Yeah, he's well educated on everything really. He's decent, and I think he must be in his 60s.
Oh, I love
so.
What a story. Like, this is like a proper old school, like it's so cool throughout it. It's like you've found what works for you. Like Sara, you say, don't fix it if it's not broken. But I think that we can, as bodybuilders over our time as well, learn what suits us more and have so much more input if we are being coached. Obviously, Zoe, you're coaching yourself for the majority, but I think that sometimes, it's clients are a bit like, "Oh, I don't really know whether to say anything." But if a client comes to you and says, "I really know that this works for me," and gives you that history, etc., as a coach, it's actually a really cool opportunity, isn't it, to sort of, you become the second eye and you guide the ship, as it were, but you can actually have a bit more of a bond there as well, I find. Do you guys find that with online coaching as well?
Yeah, like I think if someone came to me, and I have it quite often with people that, like, take Laura Hayward, my figure girl. We are always bouncing ideas off each other because she's a celiac, so she knows exactly what works for her body, what doesn't work for her body, and we bounce off each other. Obviously, we've worked together for a while now, but if she comes to me and says, "Look, Sar, I know exactly what works for my body, X, Y, and Z," and I'm like, "Right, okay, so just set it out like this, we'll do this, we'll do that," and she's like, "Actually, what about if we try this?" Like, I think it's so important to be able to bounce off of, yes, some clients are different, some need a little bit more support than others, but I think to have that relationship with someone where you can bounce ideas off and actually be like, be honest with each other, like, "That doesn't work, let's try this." I think that's really, really good, because who knows your body better than yourself? You know what I mean? Like, if you know that works, then try it. If your coach is like, "That works, but I don't want to try it, it's my way or the highway," then that's a red flag for a coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's like you say, your own body.
Sure.
My client Alex has got a really bad inflammatory condition with her digestive system. So she's very, very limited with the sources she can use, especially in a carb up. And she was like, "Can we try this? Can we try that?" And it's like, yeah, of course, it's not a dictatorship.
Sure.
Like, you're a 56-year-old woman. You've competed for like over 20 years. What has worked for you? I'm not going to go, no. Okay, so you think potato works great? I'm going to give you rice. It's got to be that back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes takes a bit of time as well, I think, to build that. I guess like it's particularly if someone's been coached before, if they had a dictator, it's quite hard for them to actually go, I don't really like that, or that type of stuff. So for us, it's like building that trust, as it were, to be like, just
Yeah.
you tell me if something works better, or even like the exercise selection, right? Like there's so many things that actually we can go back and forth, and then, as I say, we guide the ship, but then it becomes this team. It's just more of that, like, oh, we're a team. And then obviously,
Yeah, sure. Like when I do like consults with people and stuff like that, I always say to them, look, like this is an honest and upfront relationship that we'll have. So if something's in your plan and you don't like, you're not, if you don't like it, not in the fact that oh, I just don't like it, I don't want to do it. If you physically really struggle with that movement or struggle with that food source, then tell me. Like I'm not going to be like it's my way or the highway. Like if I don't know how you're feeling, your thoughts, your thought process, how am I supposed to do my job if you're not telling me things that don't work? Like I think it's quite common for clients to not be open and honest with their coaches when it comes to things that they're struggling with. Because I've had people say, oh, I don't want to bother you, like I don't want to be a burden, but like it's my job to make sure that you're the best that you can be. So having that upfront, trustworthy, honest relationship is what's going to relay into to your end goal or whatever you want to achieve, because it's built off honesty, trust, communication, and teamwork.
Yeah, and getting the best from someone, sometimes we as coaches need to learn different ways for different personalities and different thought processes. If
Sure.
there is, and we know we've spoken about it, there can be like quite heavy trauma related to previous coaching, and
Yeah.
that's it's heavy for people, very heavy. And I can speak for all of us. It's that investment to each individual is top priority, and it takes time, but having that facilitation to be like, okay, so we can include some things like Zoe, you said protein bar. Some people are like, I can't have a protein bar, can I? And it's like, there's different people, different individuals, but it's like actually again, rather than banishing all the different foods that maybe people think on social media, I can't have that, I can't have that. We're again there to educate and guide. And I mean, again, look at Zoe, she's shredded and she's eating protein bars. So they must be all right.
You can make so much money off of that, Zoe. Get shredded eating protein bars.
That's it, and potatoes. I'm on about, at the moment, I'm on a low day, I'm on 800 gram of potato a day.
Love it.
That's just potato,
I love it.
Yeah, white potato. Yeah, and then my oat portions, the guys can't believe it in the gym. I mean, on a normal day, I mean, in my breakfast, it's 140 gram of oats.
Stop it.
Yeah.
140 is a really nice serving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being serious.
Of oats.
Yeah, with my blueberries and my protein powder, and I've still got peanut butter in my diet as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm full for the whole day.
Oh
yeah.
I can eat 130, but over that I'm like
it's quite
easy.
it's a bit of a commitment sitting there.
Give 300 grams of figs and I'll bosh them in half an hour.
oh, I fucking love figs.
Yeah. And then you've obviously got core as well, haven't you? If oats are maybe that's probably a switch for people would make if oats is a bit too heavy, and obviously there's no fiber there. If we're at the height of off season, back in the core.
Yeah. Mind you, I do like oats though. I don't know why. I just like oats. Yeah.
Reveal.
Mm.
I always have oats before bed. With the dark chocolate and we actually have
the middle of the.
We've got a question. I mean, it's sort of this might be a friend of yours, Zoe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's _amb_toned figure _.
Yeah.
Sorry. I like it.
She said,
Yeah.
Zoe, who's your favourite figure girl? Exclamation mark and laughing faces.
Well, obviously her then, isn't it?
So I'm guessing she wants you to say that she is your favourite figure girl.
Well, you know what? I'll make a comment on her actually, because she has definitely progressed in the last sort of 2 years, I would say, because I was watching her train and because I've got 2 gym memberships, one in Bury St Edmunds and one in Thetford, and she trained to the one at Thetford. And she was doing her off season, and I was like, she wasn't thinking about competing again. I was like, well, you're training, you must be training for a reason. I said, like, you put on such a good amount of like lean muscle mass, think about competing again. And then out of the blue, she started to compete this year. I think she come first in the last competition in the PCI, I think. But yeah, and then she won, I think, UK up. Yeah, she won UK up as well, pro card in that. So yeah, she done that as well.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, so now she's enhanced. So, but the thing is, as soon as she went over, I say, is that the wrong word to say? How to say it? As soon as she decided to be enhanced, I have never seen her figure change. Like, her back is insane. The condition is 1 to 1,000,000. She looked amazing. The difference that she made in that 12 weeks from changing her coach and then to going enhanced as well it was amazing. What the way she transformed, like, yeah. And I don't think, I say enhanced, but she wasn't taking any sort of form of steroids or anything like that. She was just taking like some sort of high fat burner clem, I think it was. Do you know how to say that on this podcast?
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah, we're checking. Yes. So she's only taking that, and obviously I'm really interested and fascinated by the way you might take something and the way that your body changes. And like I said, I've seen it 12 weeks before and then 12 weeks after, and I was like, wow, like what you've been doing there. Not training as well. And yeah, and she's done the best that she's ever, because she found like she's sitting at a bit of a plateau. She wasn't losing weight, holding a lot of bit of extra fat, lower half, and yeah, so a back conditioning and her glutes and hamstrings, and at the front of her quads as well, coming very, very quick as her body reacted very well to it. And then she found as well with the new coach that she was on extra food.
Yeah.
So she was screaming on little food. She's on like 1,200 calories, not losing any weight, stressing that she wasn't going to be ready in time, changed over a coach, higher food. Yeah, okay, she's taking what she's taking, but actually her body just, I was like, you look like a different person. And you know, you've got your condition now. So, but yeah, hence why she obviously won the competitions as well. So it was quite interesting actually watching her body change in such a short period of time as well. But yeah, I didn't realise what certain sort of what I would call fat burners, what they can assist with, what they can help you with as well. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting actually. Yeah.
It's not just the effects that it does within the body, it's that extra factor of giving energy. So when you are in a deficit, you don't notice that deficit quite so much, because you're kind of, oh, I've got the stimulant in me that I can actually do what I wouldn't normally be able to do on such a low amount of calories.
Yeah, she did mention that. She said the only thing that she mentioned that was sort of as a negative, that you felt a little bit extra hungry.
Yeah.
But then you're pushing your body harder in the gym, you're going to feel more hungry, aren't you?
Yeah, and I feel like when, generally speaking, you're going to have the fat burners AM, right, because of the shelf life. I know sometimes people split them or whatever, but generally speaking, it's earlier part. And then you can get that suppression of appetite, which I feel comes in clutch, obviously, in a deficit, to have that fasted window. And then you can maybe feel the hunger go through the day, maybe ramp up a little bit. But you get those, like, as my dose went up, Matt's like, you're like a fucking 80-year-old woman. Because, like, I was walking along like this when the dose went over like 80, and your Himbine as well, which in natural feds you're allowed to use your Himbine as far as I know.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I double checked it.
Yeah,
I double checked it the other day because I've got an athlete that's used your Himbine before, she'll be listening. And she was like, can we use your Himbine? And I was like, You're natty. She was, oh, I've used it before, and she's competed for like 8 years. And then I was like, let me double check because I know that there a couple of years I was speaking with my coach and we were talking about it, and he said it is okay to use. So I was like, let me double check because I know that they change obviously what's banned and what's not. And you can use your Himbine, yeah.
Interesting. I've never used it myself. I've never even gone near it actually. I know some people respond really well to it, some people don't. I've never used it.
It's often the anxieties that
I was literally about to say that. Yeah.
come with your Himbine.
We,
It's
we
and
put it.
it's dose dependent as well, of course. Like I know sometimes 5, 10. Mana, get in.
We put in your Himbine. I think I was about 8 weeks out from the Olympia last year. It lasted 2 weeks. I couldn't. It made my tremors from Glen even worse. But it was the anxiety that I have baseline anyway, and Clen MPP do increase it to an extent, but it's manageable. But with your Himbine, it was just too much. That and the sweating. I can't deal with the sweating.
Did
I
you
have to eat
find
things.
did you find that had much of an impact on your physique, bro? Like, did you lose much more weight? Like,
Using that particular prep as an example isn't the best
yeah,
because I was like Zoe. I've been on prep since January, and it was just my body was just tired with doing the training course I was doing at the time and how I was having to train. It was I was just ended up as a water balloon one weekend. Woke up and I was just fucking full of fluid. But yeah, we had to take the Empire out, and I think because it was precipitating to the anxiety that was having a negative impact on the look. That baseline stress level was more of the impact than the benefit I was getting from the Himbine. I mean, Dan talks about percentage wise, it probably adds 5% fat loss to Clen. And if you're experiencing that many side effects, then it's just not worth it. But the thing I found with my natural client, the list of stuff you can't use, it's so vast.
I know.
And they're all the chemical compounds. So I'm like having to Google these really complex pharmaceutical names of stuff to find out what it actually is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Because
just,
even like there's
yeah.
some pre-workouts and stuff that are on the ban list. And obviously, if your coach doesn't know about it maybe or whatever, you might do a pre-workout at the gym, right? And then be like, oh shit, I've used it since I can't
Yeah.
use.
There was so many. It's like so difficult to tell. I don't know about your experiences with that, Zoe.
Yeah, it's we've got with the BNBF, you've got a Facebook group, so they're pretty good. So you'll normally take a snapshot of your pre-workout. If you're in a gym, you just don't take it until you find out. But yeah, you take a snapshot before you buy, and then the guy Davey on there will get back to you and say, yeah, this is okay to take, and he'll specifically say as well, it's okay to take in your off season, but not in season, which don't make sense. And then there'll be times when, like a pre-workout, for example, like, yeah, Zoe, you can take this in season, but make sure you stop taking it 4 weeks prior to your show because this small ingredient could show up on a drug test. And one of the ingredients I come across in a pre-workout, I think it was might have been in Naughty Boy, which sells in gyms, and it's an ingredient called Jamaica bark. Now, if you read that on the back of a supplement, you think Jamaica bark, that sounds quite natural ingredient. Yeah. Jamaica bark, what is that? Yeah.
Shut up, Sarah.
But when I obviously put it on the group, there was like, it's an ingredient with an ingredient. So there's octamine, which you're not allowed to take, which is a big no-no in the natty fed. So octamine is a high fat burner. It assists with fat burning. So octamine is an ingredient within the Jamaica bark. And my argument was to my coach was like, well, okay, so if you find that people take this Naughty Boy, for example, and then they get brought up on a drug test.
Naughty Boys everywhere now.
Yeah, innit?
You know, on the drug test list, if you go through the massive big list, that octamine you're not allowed to take, but it hasn't got Jamaica bark on it. And he's like, you got a good point there, because it's an ingredient with an ingredient. So how can you tell an athlete? I mean, you give them a slap on the wrist, say, yeah, you're not allowed to take it if you got caught. Oh, well, I weren't aware of it. But yeah, so there's ingredients out there that are inside of an ingredient, and that's how rigid they get. But my argument is as well, is that if you can take something in your off season, then why can't you take it in your season?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a bit weird, isn't it? Like that's basically like being like, you could take Anavar in your off season, but just don't take it when you're competing. Just like
Say to an Olympic sprinter, as long as if you're going to use steroids, just do it in your off season.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, but they are the rigid. So the best way you can do it is just take a snapshot, put it on there, say yes or no, and then that's it. But they are rigid with it.
Peace in mind as well. I guess it's like being able to trust the community as well. You know, we've spoken about it before, like you don't want to seem stupid. So yeah, if you feel comfortable to put a screenshot, that's helpful.
Yeah. And I've learned a few lessons just by pre-workouts. It's but again, it's like, okay, so if I took one scoop of pre-workout that had Jamaica bark in it, that's not going to get me into my condition, because if it is, I'm not going to prep all year, and I'm just going to take one scoop.
Yeah, yeah, shredded all year round from Jamaica bark.
Basically, did the natural show back in, when was it? June, I think. I was working with Eve out doing I was basically collecting piss for a day, which was fun. Yeah. So they had urine testing and polygraph, and it was a mixture of, some people had the urine test only, some people had the urine test and the polygraph, and then there were people that, after they'd been on stage and Ryan had seen them, were directed, if they hadn't had a polygraph, directed to have one. And there was one competitor that really, really failed. Like, it was a 0.01% truth that she was saying. Sorry.
Shit.
And she wanted a urine sample as well, and it was like, well, you've already failed the polygraph, so what's the urine sample going to tell us? Nothing. And I think she'd taken Clen during her prep, and whether she knew that was allowed or not allowed, I don't know. But it was quite interesting to be involved in the testing process, although it did involve carrying around cups of urine for most of the day.
Right. Is it a polygraph? How do they work?
So it's quite a lot of it is on blood pressure and heart rate. I know they use pulse a lot, and he was showing, I didn't actually get talked through how it works per se, but they showed us this failed test, and the needle's just doing this. So they'll ask some and Zoe, you might be able to say more, to be fair. They'll ask some baseline questions like, are you female? Are you male? Where are you? To
be female male.
What is the actual truth? And then they'll
I don't know if I'm male or female.
I think I would just be stressed. I can't lie for shit. Anyway, I can't tell the truth. I can't lie. I can't do anything.
I'm shit at I can't lie.
It'd be stressing that they think I'm lying.
Yeah, exactly. And then it would just be
give me a false reading.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would affect it, like if you were just a really nervous and like felt anxious in that scenario, to then
even if I'm not lying, I still look like I'm lying, so I just can't get away with it. Like,
have you had a pre-workout?
For lying when you're not lying?
Yeah.
I'm sure that when you're a pro in the tested feds, you can get tested at any time. So like if you were in the audience watching a show, I think they can pull you for a test as well. As far as I know from being more involved with Natty Feds years ago, that look, literally you could be sitting there in the audience watching, and they say we need to do a test on you. You might be in off season, so
really,
yeah.
Is that a thing, Zoe?
If you're a pro,
okay. The WNBF. I think. Well, I know they've got the best policy, I would say, picking up the WNBF.
Yeah.
I was helping out, handing out the trophies. And then, yes, Steph, who's the organiser of the UK WNBF, she said, can I do a random drug test with you off season? I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I think it was good because I'd like early on in the year, as I said, I competed with UK, NFM UK, which is tested. And obviously I'd won against the enhanced women and I got a pro card in that. So there was a big thing, well, maybe she can take stuff in her off season and that. So when Steph decided to do that, she said, I think it'll be good for your Instagram just to show people that actually it's your condition that's got it. Obviously, I had to come down a category as well. But yeah, the WNBF anyway, they do random drug testing. Yeah, and with the polygraph as well, they do polygraphs at both the British and the World Championships. So they're double tap. So if your urine sample comes back okay, at least they can reflect back on that. And the polygraph tests do work. I know that there was in the BNBF, they did a polygraph test on one of the athletes, and he'd already won his competition, and the test results didn't come back until a little bit later or something. Anyway, cut long story short, he'd won his competition but had to give his prize to the guy that come second because it come up on his polygraph test that he'd taken something within the last 7 years, because you have to show 7 years drug test free. And he took steroids for 3 years prior to that natural competition. So now he's banned from all natural competitions. So they do work.
Yeah.
Dan had a client, the BNBF, must have been about 18 months ago now. And it was the first natural show I'd ever been to. And we were waiting for him to come on. He was doing classic, and they had the women on, I think it was one of the figure classes beforehand. And they did like the overall for it. And they actually awarded this particular competitor a trophy for the year before, where she'd become second, but the woman that beat her, then either urine test or polygraph, had come back as having used something. So they awarded her the year before's trophy as well.
Yeah, they're good like that. Yeah, and they'll put a big post as well on Facebook or Instagram just to so that it proves that they take the drug testing very, very seriously. And yeah, it can become quite costly for the athletes, because I know that a polygraph test probably costs around about I think anything from like $80 to $100. When you're paying your entrance fees and you're paying everything else on top of that, accommodation, flights to get over, but then you want to show that you're not taking anything, so you're gonna have to pay it. So, but yeah, it's good because you know that you're stepping on stage and everyone's in the same boat. So
it's responsibility to pay for the polygraph.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if you refuse, then it's like she's cheating.
Yeah.
What if you literally don't have any funds? I mean, no one will be in that position, but like, what if you are really stuck?
Yeah.
You would go over, you just wouldn't go over. I'm very lucky with the army because they love female sport, whatever sport you're in. Do you class bodybuilding as a sport? Some people don't. I do.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between triathlon and a bodybuilding competition? You probably spend the same amount of time in the gym, on the bike, and in the pool. There's no difference. It's probably more stress on the body. So yes, I put a big push. It's not classed as a recognised sport, but they've still supported me because of the level that I'm at. And like this year for Boston, they've given me £650.
Oh, mate, that's so good.
Yeah. So that's covered all my accommodation. So that's pretty much covered half the cost with everything else on top. And then when I get back, I just write like a little bio to go into their sort of like army magazine, just to say like how well I've done. And then what I've been doing is on previous competitions, I've been putting all my trophies into the what they call sort of like the PT Core Museum.
Yeah.
A little bit of photos. It's just like, because they're only going to gather dust in my house, so I've got like my big pro sword in there and that. So that's like a give back to the army, really, to say thank you for supporting. Here you go. But no, the army have been very supportive, and it's good now because we've got a Facebook page and we've got about, I think around about 60 competitors out the whole of the British Army that actually do bodybuilding now.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Give them support as well, to give them advice and the right sort of advice to like what competitions to go into and stuff. Obviously, being in the army and that.
That's very different to my experience in the ambulance service, where basically at one point they made a ban in the control room that you couldn't eat food at your desk if you had to use a knife and fork. So I couldn't eat my chicken and rice, but someone could order a pizza and sit at their desk and eat a pizza.
You could have just used like the chicken as a spoon and just been like, fuck off.
Like you said, not a knife and fork, but I only use a spoon to eat. So,
Like, haha, loophole.
yeah, if I just eat it with my hands, is that allowed?
Shoving it like an animal in the corner.
It's all the
It's-
I think as well, from sort of when you think about the polygraph and that, it's not, you've got to travel there as well, so it's not necessarily easy to get there. So if you've got a normal job as a competitor and then on X date you need to get to London for a polygraph, you got to pay for that, maybe take a day off work, travel there as well. And there's other costs, like we say always, don't we, about accommodation and travel for competing in general, but adding a polygraph on top of that potentially as well. Competitors I've spoke to in the past, they're like, I can't hardly afford the polygraph, let alone getting there and taking time off work as well. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Just for example, so for the WNBF, I think polygraph probably costs you about $80, something like that, around that. And then your tanning is $100, so that's £95. And then you got your entrance fee, which is like £211. So before you've even got to the Worlds, you're paying all that, and then you got to look at your flights and your accommodation and stuff. But on the flip side, the WNBF have been good, so they'll have a WhatsApp group, so people are sharing Airbnbs, so it cuts the price down. So they are good that way. So we go over as a team, and then we help each other out as a team just to keep the cost down. Because before you know it, you're paying over £2,000 just to get out there, and then if you don't win as a pro, you don't get anything. But then you go for the experience, don't you? So obviously as a pro athlete, you win money, but you're not going over for that. But then that probably covers all your costs.
What's the prize winnings like for the WNBF, Zoe?
So when I won it in 2022, it was, I think it's about £1,600.
That's not bad.
It's good.
basically
It's
the same
really
as
good.
by the time you convert $2K
Yeah.
into pounds, it's for an IFBB pro win as a female category, it's pretty on par, really.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's good, that then. Yeah, I mean, in total, with my costs and stuff to get out there, it's cost about 1,300. But then the army helping me out as well, that's pretty much half the price. So,
I mean, like you said, like we don't really do it for the money; it's the experience. But like sometimes when you have that little bit of help, like it does make a massive difference,
Yeah, yeah.
Is the rules any different for male and female categories in WNBF?
What with the prize money, you mean? I don't think. No, I think it's pretty much the same, because obviously the prize money goes on how much the WNBF have earned throughout the year, sort of like, do you see what I mean, with how many athletes they've had. So I don't know how they work it. But yeah, the male athletes will pretty much get the same, like first, second, and third. So there'll always be a third, second, third sort of prize for.
I'm coming off. I'm going natty.
Yeah, I'm joining the military, and I'm just gonna hide my trend somewhere. I don't take trends.
When I saw how much Samson won,
military.
When I saw how much Samson won, I mean, sick, but I was like, fucking hell, he's nearly a millionaire.
And he's going to do the Arnold's as well, which no doubt he'll win. So he would have won like some mad amount of money, like probably just under $1 million in
being coached by his wife.
I know. Ha!
Sure, still only won 50K.
I know, mate. It's mad.
I know, that was wild.
Andrea Shaw still only won 50K.
Yeah,
that's the discrepancy. Yeah.
It's like Chicago, I think, was 20K for the men's open, but the women's bodybuilding 2K, women's physique 2K, wellness was 4K. How can you have wellness getting more money than? Oh, that might be in Atlanta actually, but yeah, wellness prize money is 4K, whereas women's bodybuilding, women's physique, unless you do Texas or Rising Phoenix, it's still only 2K.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's mad, isn't it?
isn't it? Yeah. I wonder what the difference with why that would be for wellness.
I wonder. I wonder whether
Popular.
it's just that whole puts bombs in seats thing.
Popular.
Yeah,
What they think. But actually, there was more people watching women's bodybuilding in Chicago than there was watching men's open in Chicago.
yeah. There we go.
Beats that.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It is mad.
Such a discrepancy.
Sorry, I get very passionate about the indiscrepancies of prize money.
What made me laugh? So I was on a show. I was at a show in the weekend, and I had my classic lad Taylor with me, and I've known Taylor for like years. And I was backstage tanning him, and he was like, "Oh shit, I haven't got anything for my hair." He like had some Brill cream in his like rucksack, just yeah, good to go. And we spend hundreds of pounds getting our makeup and hair done, and he was like, "Good to go." I was like, for fuck's sake. I wish we could do that. Oh dear.
It's a
Fucking
full-on thing.
Dan and I worked out he could buy something ridiculous, like 10 pairs of posing trunks for the cost of one bikini.
mad, isn't it? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you have a bikini sponsor, Zoe?
No, I don't. No, the only sponsor that I've had is from pre-workout.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah, I
Not
don't know why. I feel like, well, I'm quite quiet on social media. I haven't got a lot of followers really. Yeah, I need to be more proactive on social media because then maybe I would get more sponsorship sort of thing. But yeah, I
You
haven't.
should
I
be
mean,
training.
eh?
You're too busy actually training.
Yeah, you've got it. You've got it. I'm selfish. I'm selfish.
Yeah, that's
The
good
other
though.
thing is with social media, it's like that you got to keep consistent, as it were, or as people move on to the next person. It's quite, I guess, maybe when you're online coaching, if you do sort of venture into that more so, because obviously people want to see what you're doing all the time and what information you're giving
Yeah.
free, etc.
I mean, I am going to get
You're
probably about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks post World. Not sorry, before the Worlds. I'm going to get a videographer in at Bury St Edmunds. I've already asked them just to sort of just show condition that I do get into, and then that will go on, and it'll be sort of like a fallback from that really, just to sort of show because I am 42, and people always say, oh, I'm getting older. I'm like, well, actually, I'm in the bestest condition than what I've ever been when I was 36 when I first started, and my body's grown every year and it's got more and more conditioned. That's what my videographer will sort of go into when he does my sort of like 3 to 4 week out sort of mark because people well, I probably don't look my age anyways. People don't even believe that I'm actually
I
in my
wouldn't have
40s.
said I would have said 21, Zoe.
when you do venture into coaching, Zoe, what
Yeah,
sort of clientele are you going to be looking to coach?
everything, literally everything. I don't want people to think that I'm a bodybuilder. I'm just going to coach bodybuilding. With being in the military, obviously being what they call like a PTI, I deal with all different types of people that are just wanting to get fit, lose a little bit of weight, and just feel good within themselves. Especially a lot of females, like, if they're going through like the menopause or anything like that. I want to help with because obviously those are all the different things that you do come across when you're in the army. So it's not just about bodybuilding. It might even be in Bury St Edmunds. I get my cream kit back on, get my PTI vest on, and beat somebody on a circuit or something, and do a bit of circuit training. So I want to definitely open it up. But one thing I'm definitely going to do is if I am taking on people that are in prep, is to not take on too many clients because I'd rather invest my time in a smaller amount and then do well than taking a lot of people on and then not getting back to them. Because in previous experience with previous coaches that have coached, not naming no names, when I'm screaming out for food and I'm not getting back till about 48 hours later, and I'm rigid being in the army and I won't put it in my mouth unless I'm told to, I don't want my clients to feel like that either. So I think it's important that you don't overkill it with clients just because you want to make money. I think it's important that, and you know, you don't want to be stressed for them either. Oh, have I got back tonight? You know, yourself sort of thing, because it can be quite stressful for the coach, never mind the athlete. So yeah, it'll be open to everyone really, I think. And I'll be silly not to use my army experience as a PT to help people do just general fitness as well as bodybuilding as well.
Yeah, I think that's something I've learned this year is like life balance. Like, you know, yes, we have bills to pay and stuff like that, but like you said, Zoe, like there's stressing over so much, stressing like for 95% of the day. Like you're not going to create good service. You're always going to be stressed. You're always going to be worried. And having a smaller clientele and being able to focus on that clientele is better than having 120 clients, having loads of money, but not being able to deliver a service. That's one that everyone should be getting instead of a watered down service.
Yeah,
It's nice
definitely.
to have that reflection in your own experiences to then take that into coaching. I think all of us, actually, us three have all sort of had a similar thing, haven't we? Where we've maybe molded and shaped our own coaching into what we didn't like from previous experiences and what we've heard about, etc., etc. And of course, you touched on it earlier, Sara. Some clients are going to need more than others. It may depend on what ranks they're going for as well, or personal life. There's so many multifaceted parts, and I certainly find even with the clients that are more, I just want to plan, there's still points where something happens and you need to be there, you know, and if that happens to 50% of your clients in the same week, it's a lot. But it's nice to hear your appreciation for the coaching side as well, because when you pour a lot into clients, it is like you say, Sara, it's like it's 95% of the day. You're thinking, aren't you? Always.
Something I found transitioning from a formal job to coaching, something I found quite difficult was how much time I have to be on this now versus before I could leave this alone for 8 hours and all I'd miss was my mum asking, "Oh, are you all right?
Yeah.
You know, Dan, can you get some chicken from Sainsbury's?" Now it's you can't leave this alone for that long because there's a client asking a question. I'm checking my phone in the middle of the night when my client Alex was over in Australia and she was in peak week. I was having to get up in the middle of the night to give her do her check-in. And it's like suddenly this is like this chain around my neck. I need to get another phone. I need to get a business phone.
A
But
burner phone.
it's something that is quite difficult. And I think it's quite difficult for Dan as well, because before, if I was on my phone, he knew that whatever I was doing, it was just messaging a mate or my mum or doing something on Instagram. So he'd be there talking to me and I'd respond. I'd interrupt what I was doing to respond. Now I'm just like, hang on a minute, because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing because I have to, because I've got to get back to a client. And he's there talking. It's like, please just shut up for 5 minutes while I write this message out. It's an interesting transition from going to this very direct, do this at this time, do that at that time, being told what to do, to suddenly you're like, right, I've got to do it all by myself now.
Intense like it is. It's very hard as well to completely switch off and be able to detract, because I was thinking this the other day. I've certainly let my own hobbies and things go for the last few months, and I'm just obsessed with my clients, really. You know, I'm in off season, so you know, and I'm just, so every day is filled with the podcast and clients, and that's my obsession. And I'm like, shit, I'm not doing anything outside of that. But I feel okay at the moment. But you know what it's like? It's on this peripheral of like, probably should push into a discomfort to actually do something. And Matt actually said the other day, Manu, he was like, we should do what Mana and Dan do and go for a coffee on a set day. And I know it almost sounds a bit silly, but it's like, unless I've put that in, that on X day we go for X coffee, I'm just literally working all day every day. Because I love it, you know, that's the thing.
The last 3 weeks, Dan's either been away or we've been at shows on our. So Zoe, Dan and I have Saturdays off where we don't have any client work. We don't do anything apart from spend the day together, and we'll normally go somewhere with the dogs for coffee. And it's like my clients know that if they message me on the Saturday, I'm not going to reply. It's my one day off. But we've been busy for the last 3-4 weeks. We're away again this weekend, and it's like we're both really missing that time to just be a couple, because although we live together, he's in the office from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. and I'm doing whatever I'm doing, check-ins in the living room, going to train, walking the dogs. We don't see each other. We don't spend any time together. It's mad. It's worse than when I was working the ambulance service, to be honest.
It is full on. You do date nights and things as well, Sarah, don't you? And I know you go to like concerts and things, don't you? I'm like,
Yeah, like this year, admittedly, has been super manic. Like this has probably been my busiest year competitive wise. But we do still try and go. I could play a lot of golf in like my off season sometimes, like going down to the driving range and stuff. But this year specifically, I've been going to loads of concerts and basically like making up the time that I lose when I'm prepping with my like best mates and stuff. Like went to go and see Becky Hill the other weekend and just switching off and being like present in a lot of moments that I haven't been able to be present before, like stuff like that. And like going to Paris, I'm going to Scotland to see Sleep Token in November, like all these things that I haven't been able to do as much of in the previous years. Like this is kind of why I had a year off this year, was to not only grow and improve my physique, but also to give back to the people that have given me a lot over the past like 10 years. Like my partner, obviously, Leets, who I speak about all the time, like she's given me her whole life for like 10 years. So like 1 year giving back to her is what I deemed was correct at the time. And yeah, date nights and stuff when it's really busy are really, really important. But like we've all said, like it's hard to come away from the phone and be like, oh shit, like did I reply to someone, like did I do this, did I, oh maybe, oh but actually then you start like spiraling and you're like fuck, like what have I done, and then you're constantly in a stress ball. So it's kind of like, especially in the season when you have lots of competitive clients or whatever it may be, like you still need to be able to find that balance. And like it's hard to do, and I'm only just about getting there, but like I think it's so important, and people need to do, they do need to respect that we are still human. And we do still have those times where, you know, we are as well professional athletes. We still have a job to do, and we still go to the, you know, when we go to the gym, it's not just having a session, it's a job of ours. We have to perform at 110% because that could be a placing that we've lost. That could be money towards traveling that's lost. Like everything that we do is not just I have a session, but it's our job. Like, so I think having that balance and having clients understand that as well is really important. And I'm very lucky to work with people who do understand that, and they do, you know, say, oh, so like no rush, but can you do this X, Y, and Z and stuff. But I think, yeah, like having date nights and things is really important, and going out and doing something that isn't bodybuilding related as well. Like I think a lot of people do, we love bodybuilding, we love it, but sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a break from it. So I go to concerts and stuff, and because they're not bodybuilding relating, I can have a bit of a like just a bit of headspace that isn't bodybuilding related for a bit and just switch off for a while. It's quite nice, to be fair. And it makes me no less of a bodybuilder, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, you have to be bodybuilding 100% in, bro. Like, but like it's okay to take a step back and do something that isn't bodybuilding. You know, I was speaking to James Hollingshead about this the other day, and he loves his video games and stuff, but because he spends hours playing his video games, it makes him no less of a bodybuilder because he's not involved with bodybuilding when he's playing his video games, you know?
quite relaxing, isn't it? So the stress
Yeah.
management and, you know, actually giving back to, because we know what stress does
Concert,
to
but I just can't stay up that late.
Yeah, insane.
get
Yes.
the clen in.
Yeah.
The only one who's been playing in off season. And before we wrap up, Zoe, have you got any hobbies? Or are you like us? Which
Bots.
Well, believe it or not, I mean, majority of bodybuilders that I speak to are probably quite teetotal, don't like a drink. But yeah, I like just getting on the train, probably going like into Norwich, Cambridge, and just having like what we call date days. Now, my wife, she likes a bit of a drink, so not like my food and a drink.
You're a legend.
Yeah, so I like a few cheeky ciders, and then yeah, probably have like the most howling bit of dirty food after it. So yeah, so I am pretty normal. I do train in my off season, obviously, but I don't track my food in my off season. I just eat what I want, but I know roughly what I'm on, so I never weigh my food out in my off season. Apart from oats, that is it. That's my de-stress from prep. And yeah, I just eat big all the time. But yeah, I like to go out, have a few drinks, and just chill out really, and enjoy family stuff. I think when you go into family events and you're there with your prep stuff, and they're like, oh, can you not eat this food? Can you not have just not one drink, Zoe? And I'm like, no, I can't. So I think the main thing is like you've just already mentioned there, it's just giving time back to your partner if you've got one, and your family and your friends, because they go through your prep as well. So it's important that you do take enough time in your off season so you can enjoy yourself, you can chill out, de-stress. get your weight back up.
I'm a firm believer of like relaxed off seasons. Like,
yeah,
say relaxed, but like I'm the same as you, Zoe. Like I have a drink from time to time with my mates from uni and shit like that. And I'm a firm believer that like I get my food in, I'll get my training done, I'll do what I need to do. But outside of that, if I want to go for a drink with my mates, I'll go for a drink. Like if I want to have some food, I'll go. I think and I think that's why people like us all on this podcast can get into the condition that we can do because we've had that time off. And I think people that are so like, oh, like all the time, like I saw someone the other day who's in full off season. He was sat at dinner with like his family, all having a roast, and he had his like Tupperware there. And you think it's fucking family Sunday. Like I would like in your off season, like if everyone is different, I get that, but like switch off. Like it will do you so much more in the long run because when I'm in prep, bam, I'm ready to go. I'm raring to go. My headspace is good. Like because I've had a really nice off season where I've got my food in, grown, had a really good time to switch off, and now I'm fucking ready to go. Because like now I'm ready for it. You know what I mean? Because I've had that time off. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. Have a little bit of time off. Like fucking chill out. Like
This mini cut at the moment is quite a struggle because we started the diet phase 8 weeks post show because I couldn't eat anymore. And it's like started the first 2 weeks, low calories, had a photo shoot. So the cardio was in, got the photo shoot out the way, and I just said to Dan, I was like, I don't want to do cardio. I don't want to do it. It really hurts already. My head's not in the right place yet because it's only been 8 weeks that I've had off from restriction and cardio. I can't be there again yet. And that's absolutely fine. The point of this sort of mini cut phase is to resensitize my appetite. I don't need to do cardio to do that. It might take a little bit longer, but if everything's hurting from doing the cardio, then I'm not going to be doing what I want to be doing in my sessions because things hurt.
yeah.
Is that flick of the switch as well? If you've, it's that readiness, isn't it? And I like it when you get to like that last maybe 4 weeks of off season when you know prep's coming up and you're like, I'm fucking so ready for this. Like and then it's just like and then prep, you're fucking loving it. And it's really nice to get to that spot. And I certainly in the earlier years didn't give myself that opportunity because I'd be back in a prep. But as you say, Sara, you know, you learn over the years that actually it's like and it's go time then, and we don't have a problem bringing that condition and doing what we need to do in a prep, and that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we spoke about this a lot on our podcast that we did way back, Sarah, is the fact that when I think you asked me whether I'm more regimented now than I was when I was younger, and the answer would actually be probably not, because I now know what I need to do to get to where I need to, but I also allow myself to breathe and live a lifestyle of a 27-year-old. Do you know what I mean? Like I still want to go out, like everyone, I still want to go out and have fun. Everyone wants to go and have fun. But like I was so regimented when I was younger in the fact that it probably wasn't very healthy. Whereas now, like I'll get everything I need to get done. And a lot of people, I think, and this is when it comes around to social media, like everyone thinks that everyone is perfect. Like no one strays from the plan. No one does anything that's outside of the plan. Like the fact that you said, Zoe, like you drink and that's fine. And a lot of people probably think, oh, she probably hates the idea of alcohol. But like, actually like that's okay. Like I had someone ask me once if I ate garlic bread. And I was like, of course I eat fucking garlic bread. Do you know what I mean? Like I am a human that likes garlic bread. Like,
Garlic bread.
yeah, yeah. Like for people that I eat chocolate, like I'm literally 90% chocolate in my off season. Like, do you know what I mean?
remember when you put on the story when I said, "What's your favorite food?"
Yeah, innit?
Chocolate whore.
It's because I am like, and I think a lot of people just
Stage as well, didn't you, Sara?
What's that?
You went through a squishy stage.
Oh, like a squishy stage.
Sweets,
Oh,
not,
sweet. Oh, fuck yeah.
not a reference to your off season.
Yeah. Sorry, you were just fat that time. But yeah,
I
the
said
squishies are
squishy.
banging. Yeah.
I think we should actually finish with our favorite food.
Zoe's like all of them.
Yeah, so Zoe, have you got top three, Zoe? What's your top three favorite
Oh,
food?
you're going to think this is disgusting.
Oh, here we go.
Top number one, and it's what I do with it as well. Pork pie, heated up in the microwave with tomato sauce.
Ah!
Yeah, and it tastes like a Greggs sausage roll.
Oh no, I can see that actually.
Yeah. And then second would be probably something like burger and chips or something like Five Guys or something like that, a smash patty or something.
You like Five Guys?
Then third is even worse. It's probably like something like the curry. So I eat the hottest curry you can get, a fowl.
You're
So I like
you
a fowl.
are.
Yeah.
you're a legend. You are. Everything you're saying, I'm just like, you're a fucking legend.
Wetting getting a headache while I'm eating it.
Love that. Fucking legend.
Eating more than if you're on like 50 milligrams of your Enbine.
Yeah.
So, what's your top three? Chocolate?
Obviously chocolates, yeah. So probably the top one would have to be chocolate, yeah. Second, probably a Five Guys. And third, probably, I don't know.
Potato.
Potato. I do bloody love a potato.
I should love the potato. Mana?
Mm,
Oh,
You're looking at raisins at the moment.
yes.
Raisins.
Dried figs at the moment. What else? Oh, it's a weird little concoction of rice cakes, honey, almond butter, sweet cinnamon, and salt. And I crunch the rice cakes up, put the salt honey on top, dribble the almond butter on top, salt, sweet cinnamon, mix it all up. That's like my little pre-workout, but I love it at the moment.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I
You know what?
the first two
I
actually
love
classed
one.
as foods.
You can have one show day. Show day morning. A nice little
That's good,
smell.
actually. That's a good point.
Nice mix there. Have a tiny bit of protein. I mean, I'm gonna say my favorite meal out is fucking Subway salad. I've got something wrong with me, guys.
Oh, you know what? Subway salads are fucking lit, bro.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Okay.
It's got green shit in it. I'm not eating it.
I fucking love Subway. Whenever me and Matt, like on our anniversary or whatever, he's like, "Where do you want to go?" I'm like, Subway.
Subway salad.
And then I love cheesecake and yeah, cheesecake.
Emily, after PCA 2 weeks ago, because she was wearing a green bikini, I was like, you're even subconsciously telling the audience to eat their
Eat
greens
vegetables.
with your bikini colour choice.
I
She
love
was
that.
like, have you had any greens today? I was like, well, I've had some rocket and a prep baguette because it was too messy to pick it out. Does that count?
Forced upon yourself to eat the shit from the Greg baguette. Bless her.
I love it. Wow, Zoe, thank you for coming on.
That's okay.
It's been good to have you. I reckon we should get you on for another round table at some point.
Yeah, when I've got even more of a dark face.
Yeah, or we could do it after our shows, like a roundup.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we'd have Anastasia coming on after the powerlifting meet, and then Zoe coming on after the bodybuilding season.
Yeah. Cool.
When is your final show, though?
23rd of November.
Oh, so soon.
Home.
Yeah, so I'm like, 5 weeks out Sunday. That's my last show.
So soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sessions in together when you're off prep.
I know.
I know. They're going down with my pork pies alongside me.
Your workout pork pies.
I love that. I love that.
Ireland will be like, why is there money grease on the pack deck?
Yeah, fucking pork pies and ketchup.
And they have a microwave in reception as well, so you could even warm it up.
Yeah, I know.
Workout.
Fucking hell.
Maybe we'll see this on Instagram stories. Well, guys, thank you as always. I will put all of our handles in the description. And of course, we've spoken about it today, but Sara and Romana are coaches in the online space. So make sure, if you catch the vibe with any of us, and then Zoe maybe that's coming. So maybe we will hear a bit more about that when we get you back on as well. So of course, yes, people can reach out if they want to, or to just share us on the stories. But as always, girls, thank you for your time today, and I will speak to you soon.
Absolutely.
Bye.
See you later, team.
Rana's like, bye.
Hey.